had not really thought about it until I got a phone call. He was talking about having sex, going somewhere. I snuck out of my grandma's house that night. We went to a park.
And what happened at the park?
We had sexual relations.
He'd have believed you if you told him the sky was.
Well, that's your own
The
opinion.
capacity of a 16-year-old.
And this how he had feelings.
He was schizophrenic and he had stress seizures.
And I took care of
And
him.
my son
I
was
didn't
very
leave him
close
because
to
of
him.
that.
She told me she cheated on me. I tell her I love her. She's my world. So is Sophia. I shouldn't have to stay care of some other man because that's what a man is supposed to do. I'll stay and take care of her because I know she thinks that I'm the father.
Can you even wrap your head around what just went down? The judge lays out the shocking nature of the case, feeling that Ms. Holthouse isn't sure if her 3-month-old son's dad is her ex, or get this, her own mother's boyfriend. The audience can't help but groan as they absorb the scandalous scenario. You won't believe what comes up next. Brace for it.
Ms. Holthouse, you are here paternity of your 3-month-old son, Zayden.
Yes, Your Honor.
Shockingly, you can either a man you shared a sexual relationship with who wants nothing to do with your child, who happens to be your mother's boyfriend. Now, Mr. Chenault, though you admit you were intimate with your girl daughter, you say you strongly fathered her child.
Yes, Your Honor.
Buckle up, because this ride gets wilder. Mr. Shinewald spills the beans on how a misdirected text message, complete with a typo, led to an illicit fling with his girlfriend's daughter. From innocent texts to not-so-innocent encounters, their story escalates faster than a soap opera. Just wait until you hear what happens next.
It started out as a text message, Your Honor. I received wasn't supposed to come to me and a word was misspelled. A few days later, she had on clothing, little skirt, breast out. Next thing you know, one thing led to another. We started flirting with each other back and forth.
Did you ever think in your mind this is appropriate?
Seriously, did that just happen? In a twist straight out of a telenovela, Ms. Holthouse details a late-night call that led to a sneaky rendezvous at the park, complete with all the makings of a scandal. As she snuck out to meet him, the plot thickened. But hold your horses. The next part is even more jaw-dropping.
So I was asking him when he's going to come over.
Did you have any intention about having a sexual relationship with your mother's boyfriend?
I had not really thought about it until I got a phone call. He was talking about having sex, going somewhere. I snuck out of my grandma's house that night. We went to a park.
And what happened at the park?
We had sexual relations.
Oh, it gets messy. It turns out Mr. Shinewald wasn't just keeping it in the family. He was playing a double game with both Ms. Holthouse and her mom. As the judge and audience express their disdain, the tangled web of lies and deceit becomes clearer. Stick around, you ain't seen nothing yet.
And who confessed?
Actually, I confessed. Yes, ma'am.
Also still sleeping with her mother during that time. Now you know that's just nasty. Ms. Holthouse, how were you sneaking around behind your mother's with her boyfriend?
We would just, when she's not there, she left to go somewhere. Sometimes when she's asleep.
Just when you think it couldn't escalate further, Ms. Holthouse's mom nearly catches her and Mr. Shinewald in a compromising position. What followed was a massive blowout, revealing the depth of their sneaky affairs. But wait, there's more chaos to come.
Did she ever almost catch you?
Yes. She caught me standing in front of her, my pants unzipped. She was really furious and upset and got into huge arguments and fights about things that were going on.
When you found out you were pregnant, Ms. Holthouse, did your mother know anything about this?
At the moment, I did not know, but as my mom was pregnant with my sister.
As if this couldn't get any more convoluted, Ms. Bogardus, the mother herself, steps into the court. Her reaction to discovering the dual betrayal by her partner and daughter adds another layer of drama to this already explosive situation. The next revelation is even more staggering, so stay tuned.
Mr. Chenault has been honest with this court. He's admitted he's been carrying on a sexual relationship with your daughter. At the same time, he was in a sexual relationship with you.
Yes.
Did they deny it at first? But your intuition told you something was going on.
Right, because my daughter was acting funny. If I was sitting on the couch next to Mr. Chenault and I would get up to go to the bathroom, she would get up out of the chair across the room to sit by him.
You'll need to sit down for this one. The judge is floored to learn Mr. Shinewald has known Ms. Holthouse since she was a baby and even had a hand in raising her. The creep factor just skyrocketed. Get ready, because the fallout from this bombshell is monumental.
So you watched her grow up.
Your Honor, I also helped raise her.
Now this just keeps getting nasty. So how will this change if you're his father or if you're his father?
Me and Miss just have to figure something out.
Are we willing consent to the lie detector test?
Gear up for more twists. The current living situation is disclosed, revealing that everyone still lives under one roof, which adds an unbearable tension to an already strained atmosphere. This revelation has everyone gasping. What comes next will shake things up even further.
And so how often do you get to see Zayd?
We actually all stayed together.
You all live together. And you two are trying to work on and save your relationship.
Well, there are rules laid down for me, her daughter. We're not to be in the same room together. We're not allowed to talk or text each other. Supposed to really even be around each other. Turns down the TV so she can hear the conversations that we're having.
Just when you think it's all out in the open, judge, suspecting more hidden truths, offers Ms. Holthouse and Mr. Shinewald a lie detector test to uncover further secrets. They both decline, but the story doesn't end there. Prepare for more eyebrow-raising moments in the following scenes.
That's how we can better ask questions. And that's why I just gave you all the opportunity to tell the truth. Because it's obvious from where I'm sitting, aren't telling the truth. And there's more to this story. See, we deal in scientific evidence here. So I want to know if both of you're not sleeping together anymore and haven't slept together. Timber, we have access and we can take a lie detector test.
And now for the grand reveal.
It has been determined by this court. You are not his father.
In a plot twist you didn't see coming, Ms. Ferguson drags her mom into court to question the paternity of the man who raised her, now suspecting he might not be her real dad. She spills the beans on the bombshell she just uncovered, prompting a DNA test demand. Strap in, because the courtroom roller coaster is just getting started.
Miss Ferguson, you've brought your mother to court today because you were recently shocked to learn Ken Ferguson, who raised you your entire life, may not biological father. You have petitioned the court paternity test on Mr. Ferguson. We'll hear from in a moment.
Ms. Munsell stuns the courtroom as she admits to her daughter, everyone present, that she had multiple partners around the time of her daughter's conception, putting the paternity into question. She's clinging to hope that the DNA results will fix their broken relationship, no matter what pops out of the envelope. Buckle up, the next curve is a doozy.
Ms. Munsell, you acknowledge that you finally confessed to your daughter that you slept with more than one man at the time of. You two are unsure what today's results will be, but hope that either way they will help repair the relationship with your daughter. Please tell me, how relationship with your daughter get to this?
I have no idea. Things that were said, things that were done.
Alicia lays it all out there, airing the dirty laundry about how her relationship with her mom went south, detailing years of feeling overlooked and unimportant. This led her to confront her stepdad about her mom's secret life. Just when you thought it couldn't get more intense, the next revelation is a jaw drop.
My mom's husband, my stepfather.
Your
We met up and we started talking. I confessed everything I knew about the past. I knew she was cheating on him. I've seen text messages, I've seen the guys, I've seen do things that I just shouldn't know a mother. She should have been the one to show me
You know
cheating.
what, Alicia? Perfect. And I'm not here to be degraded like this by my own.
Amid gasps and murmurs, Alicia continues to unpack the messy family saga, detailing her mom's cheating ways and how it skewed her views on love and trust. She recounts the emotional toll it took on her and her relationships. The drama thickens. Wait till you hear what comes next.
I let it all out. Everything I was keeping secrets from him. I was supposed to be her little secret. Supposed to be the only one to know that she was sleeping around. Handle it anymore because I love him like I love him. I figure I have two dads and now this dad is telling me that this dad might not even be my real father, because when he said that to me.
In a heartfelt testimony, Ken Ferguson steps up, firm in his belief that Alicia is his daughter, despite the swirling rumors stirred up by Ms. Munsell's past escapades. He shares his deep-seated doubts and the hurt stemming from the uncertainty that he might not be her biological father. The plot thickens. Get ready for the twist.
You thought, Miss Ferguson, this young woman was your daughter.
Yeah, I believe she was my daughter.
Why do you have the doubt?
When I first met her at a party, I found out after this because that's when we met. I slept with 4 guys that night. It was my
Four
friend.
guys in one night. You know this for a fact or you heard?
No, and we were dating and moved in with each other. Within like 2 weeks, sister started calling me saying, hey, they're down at...
The courtroom is thick with emotion as Ms. Ferguson and her mother dive deep into their tumultuous relationship, exploring the possibilities for forgiveness and understanding, regardless of the paternity test outcome. The emotional roller coaster is far from over. The climax is up next, and it's a tearjerker.
That's a good idea. I think we need the results. Jerome, before I read these results, what are you hoping these results will achieve? Because you say you came here for your daughter.
To give her a peace of mind, but I know what the results are going to be. It's going to be Ken.
And Miss Ferguson, what do you want?
Relief and repair.
Everyone leans in as Judge Lake gears up to unveil the DNA test results, which could confirm or flip the entire family narrative, possibly redefining relationships and personal identities. The moment of truth is upon us. Grab your popcorn. This reveal is going to be epic.
I want to have to choose all the time. I don't want her to give up on me, so I want repair from that, and I want repair dad to know that my mom was a noise. I just want us all to be somewhat a family instead of me just knowing them never to get along.
And I want to say that
When it comes to Alicia Ferguson, Mr. Ferguson, you are her father.
Strap in for this roller coaster opener. Ms. Crow lays it all out, explaining why she's dragged everyone into court today. She's determined to prove that Ms. Reinhardt's late son is the father of her child, Thomas, aiming to cement his identity, accusing Ms. Reinhardt of trying her best to throw a wrench in her plans. And guess what? It only gets wilder from here.
Ms. Crow, you have summoned the defendant to court to prove that her son, J.C. Turner, fathered your 2-year-old son, Thomas. You want Thomas to know who his father, and you say that Ms. Reinhardt has done everything she can to sabotage your efforts.
Yes, Your Honor.
Things heat up fast. Ms. Reinhardt fires back, calling Ms. Crow a manipulator and firmly denying that her son could be Thomas's father. She accuses Ms. Crow of using her son for financial gain, both before and after his unfortunate passing. Buckle up, because the next part is a doozy.
Ms. Reinhardt, you state Crow is a liar and a manipulator, and that the child in question is not deceased son's baby. You say Ms. Crow used your son for money when he was alive. It's trying to claim him as her son's father only to get death benefits.
Yes, Your Honor.
Crank up the drama dial. Ms. Crow reminisces about the early days, sharing how she made sure her newborn son could hear his dad's voice over the phone, painting a picture of a mom trying to bridge a father-son connection from miles away. Emotional? Yes, and it's just the setup for more revelations to come.
It is more than just the money. I would like help with my son. Yes, of course. My son cannot grow and meet his father. So he deserves that right to know who his father and to know who his family is.
Talk to him about his father, or have
Actually, when my son was born and he was, just a few months, I would talk on the phone every day with Jay, and I would on speakerphone so his son could hear his voice.
You won't see this twist coming. Ms. Reinhardt throws skepticism into the mix, questioning the timeline of Ms. Crow's pregnancy based on some eyebrow-raising observations about Ms. Crow's physical appearance early on. Her emotional testimony underscores her profound doubts and turmoil. Stick around, the emotional fireworks are just getting started.
In the time period, the frame she said she was, when she told me she was pregnant, it didn't happen that way. There's no way she could have 2 weeks pregnant and had a stomach firm as she did.
you're saying she couldn't have a stomach as firm?
I mean, after 2 weeks, you don't have a stomach as firm as that.
Here's where the plot thickens. Ms. Crow spills the beans on her whirlwind romance with Jay, from their fast-paced love story, the unprotected liaisons that she believes led to her pregnancy. She's convinced of Jay's paternity because, according to her, he was her one and only during that time. The tale spirals from here, so keep watching.
When I first met Jay, we were at a skate park. I noticed him a lot, and I called him over to me and had a conversation. From that conversation, we ended up walking feelings, and it did happen all too. He did ask me to be his girlfriend, and we did have unprotected sex as well. There's no doubt in my mind that I did not sleep with anybody else. When I was with him, to me, there's no other option.
Grab some popcorn for this revelation. In a heart-wrenching moment, Ms. Reinhardt discusses her son's mental and health issues, accusing Ms. Crow of exploiting his vulnerabilities for her gain. The complex dynamics and intense emotions highlighted here set the stage for even more gut-wrenching moments. The next segment will hit you right in the feels.
He'd have believed you if you told him the sky was.
Well, that's your own
The
opinion.
capacity of a senior-year-old.
And this how he had feelings.
He was schizophrenic and he had stress seizures.
And I took care of
And
him.
my son
I
was
didn't
very
leave him
close
because
to
of
him.
that.
And she could have told him that she was pregnant. That's his.
So you're
He
saying he
really-
did not have the discernment, hey, I don't believe that's my baby.
No, I've had 8 grandkids, and all 8 of my grandkids favor me. I've got a baby picture.
Dive deeper into the saga. Ms. Crow describes the tumultuous circumstances around her son's birth and her decision to end things with Jay due to his irresponsible behavior, shedding light on the personal struggles and hard choices she faced. The emotional roller coaster is far from over.
In which the baby was born. JC participating in the birth.
Me and JC, at the time we were living together, it was 2015. I have decided no longer go any further in the relationship because I have 2 other kids. I'm pregnant and he's a grown man. He's doing what he wants and I can't stop him. He comes home one night and he's drunk or wide open. We don't live in the best neighborhood.
The tension is cranked to 11. A fiery exchange kicks off over Ms. Crow's intentions with the paternity test and potential benefits after Jay's death. Ms. Reinhardt challenges Ms. Crow's actions and motives during the 9 months after the child's birth, insinuating a greedy angle to her pursuit. But hold on, the next revelation will have you on the edge of your seat.
Be in contact and get the DNA, and the benefits are all in hopes that your son will know his father. But what were you doing actively for those 9 months
Nothing.
to make sure your child knew his father?
Well,
Nothing.
like I said, it stated earlier,
Nothing.
I lost my father 3rd month of that year and father of my son 7th month of that year. I was going through stuff my own 7-year-old daughter. I have a 4-year-old daughter.
As the verdict looms, air is thick with anticipation. The court prepares to unveil the DNA test results, ending the suspense and potentially resolving the heated paternity dispute. Every heart in the room is pounding with anticipation, and the outcome will tug at your heartstrings heartstrings. Prepare for an emotional avalanche that's about to hit.
He was mad with me because he believed I was stealing his money. I was the one making sure his bills were paid. He had a two-bedroom.
And I was there, and he didn't have nowhere to go. I paid for him. I had somewhere to stay. I didn't have that money, but I made sure he was okay.
It has been determined by this court. The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Reinhardt and Thomas Crow is 99.6% are related.
Buckle up, because Mr. Fisher is starting us off with a bombshell. Mr. Fisher opens his case, expressing his regret over signing the birth certificate of 2-month-old Sophia, following the revelation by his fiancée, Ms. Doyle, that he might not be the father. His despair is palpable as he recounts how this news was dropped on him just 1 month ago. Just wait, Ms. Doyle's side of the story is up next, and it's a doozy.
Mr. Fisher, you claim you made the biggest mistake of your life by signing the birth certificate of 2-month-old Sophia. You say your fiancé dropped a bomb on you 1 ago and admitted you may be her father.
Yes, Your Honor.
As Ms. Doyle steps up, the room fills with anticipation. Ms. Doyle admits her infidelity and expresses her hope that Mr. Fisher is indeed Sophia's father. Her emotional state is evident as she stands in court, hoping for a positive resolution to the paternity question that hangs over the family. Hang on, because Mr. Fisher's reaction is just around the corner and it's heart-wrenching.
Ms. Doyle, you admit to making the biggest mistake of your life by cheating on Mr. Fisher, but stand in court hoping and praying is Sophia's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, watch as Mr. Fisher spills his guts out here. A heartfelt moment occurs as Mr. Fisher describes his emotions: sorrow, pain, and betrayal. He recalls the initial joy of fatherhood, which was harshly interrupted by the revelation of Ms. Doyle's affair, dramatically altering his experience and expectations of fatherhood. And just when you think it can't get more intense, the plot thickens.
Can you tell me what you feel?
Sorrow, pain, everything. It all hurts bad.
Because for the month this baby's life, you had no doubt that brand new feeling of being a dad was just ripped
right down the middle.
Grab your popcorn, folks. Ms. Doyle's backstory is a roller coaster. Ms. Doyle details the events leading to her infidelity, explaining how a misunderstanding about Mr. Fisher's fidelity led her to seek comfort with another man, ultimately resulting in unprotected intimate violence. This confession sets the stage for the paternity uncertainty surrounding Sophia. Strap in, because the emotional twists are just getting started.
One of his family members, I was vacationing with one of his family members in Florida, and another one of his family members that he was with at the time had texted me. He said, "Trey's cheating on you," which we call him Trey, but his name is John. Me, I was hurt, and so I went to be by myself, pool area where I was at the time. A guy walked up to me, and he's like, "Well, you look like you need somebody. Do you want to go to my camper and talk?"
Here's a twist. The happiest day of Mr. Fisher's life comes with a shadow. Mr. Fisher recounts the blissful day he learned of Ms. Doyle's pregnancy, juxtaposed with her internal turmoil knowing the infidelity that had occurred. This contrast highlights the complex emotions both parties were dealing with, amidst what should have been purely a joyful revelation. But hold on, there's more drama as they head to the delivery room.
The day I found out she was pregnant, she had threw up like 3 or 4 times because she was feeling sick. We purchased the pregnancy tests to the house. She took them. One had a faint line, and then one had both lines. And I was happy. That was the best day of my life.
Whenever I took the pregnancy test, I knew that I had cheated on him. So whenever I seen the lines, I was like, well, this isn't happening, you know?
As we dive into the birth story, get ready for some feels. The birth of Sophia is described by Mr. Fisher as he recounts the emotional support he provided during the delivery, believing wholeheartedly that he was the father. He shares the profound connection and joy he felt, signing the birth certificate without a doubt in his mind. Next up is Doyle's guilt starts to unravel, and it's a tearjerker.
When she was giving birth, held her hand, I felt like I was the dad, which at the time, I was pretty sure I was. I held her, kept telling her, push, push, push. I want to see my baby. And afterwards, right there, I held her. I signed the birth certificate and everything. I thought it was my baby. We stayed there for 3 days. Those 3 days were the most important, amazing, wonderful.
As Ms. Doyle comes clean, the stakes couldn't be higher. The turmoil increases as Ms. Doyle, overwhelmed by guilt, reveals her infidelity to Mr. Fisher after Sophia's birth. The emotional weight of this revelation is shared, as Mr. Fisher grapples with the news but decides to stay and care for Sophia regardless of the paternity outcome. The moment of truth is just ahead, and it's going to be a jaw-dropper.
How do you remember that night?
We just fun all day that day, holding Sophia, spending time with her, just quality time. And she started looking at Sophia, started crying, kept crying. She told me she cheated on me. I tell her I love her, she's my world, so is Sophia. I shouldn't have to stay care of some other man because that's what a man is supposed to do. I'll stay and take care of her because I know she thinks that I'm the father.
Ready for the big reveal? Here it comes.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Fisher, you are the father.
Can you believe this drama unfolding? Ms. Bronson opens her case against Mr. Roberts, who she has always believed to be her father, but now he's got doubts about his paternity. She lays out her need for clarity after Mr. Roberts threw this curveball, following a recent shocking revelation. You'll want to keep watching. It's just heating up.
Ms. Bronson, you always known the defendant to be your biological, but have opened your case against him, prove paternity, because he now claims he has reason to deny is your father.
Your Honor.
This part is a total jaw dropper. Mr. Roberts spills the beans about his world being flipped upside down. Another guy, Mr. Banks, is claiming he might be Ms. Bronson's real dad. This bombshell has Mr. Roberts reeling from the impact. Brace yourself. The emotional roller coaster is about to go off the rails.
Mr. Robert, you believed Bronson was your firstborn 3 years ago when your world was turned upside down. The news that you may not be biological father, and Mr. claims he is, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you see that coming? Ms. Bronson stands her ground, asserting with heartfelt conviction that Mr. Roberts is her dad. No matter what the DNA might say, she's been his daughter all her life. No test result is going to change her feelings. Buckle up. The revelations keep getting wilder.
Your Honor, I feel Mr. Roberts is my father. He's the only father I've known 29 years. That's my father, period. I know him my whole life. That's it.
Mr. Roberts, what is your side?
Well, I always believed that Jasmine was my daughter. I raised her as my daughter as the other children in my life. Only knows me as a father.
This twist will have you grabbing your popcorn. Back in 2009, Ms. Bronson's mom dropped a bombshell over the phone, mentioning Mr. Banks might be her biological father. This news sent shockwaves through Ms. Bronson's life, marking a significant pivot in her family saga. Don't go anywhere. The plot thickens.
What happened in 2009?
I had a phone conversation with my mother. Then she said, Mr. Banks, and she said, don't you remember the guy that I told you who thought he was your father? When she said that to me, Your Honor, it was a what moment, like, what are you talking about? So she said that he wanted to get in contact with me. I gave her my number to give to him, or she gave me his. I can't remember how we actually got in contact. We reached out to one another.
Did you know Mr. Banks?
No, Your Honor.
Hold on to your seats, folks. Mr. Roberts recounts how his fiancée, Ms. Blair, broke the news to him about the paternity doubts, which shook his world to its core. He's been the dad all along, financially and emotionally, and this revelation feels like a betrayal. Watch out. The next part is a doozy.
Miss Blair told me that she needed to talk to me about something, and that's when I found out. I was kept in the dark about all this. I never knew anything about, spent 8 months in jail for unpaid child support, $75,000 in arrears.
You don't even get a call. Your fiance comes to you and says,
possibility that Jasmine is not my biological, and that took me for a loop after all these years. I was like, I had paused for a minute. I was like, what?
Talk about a plot twist. Mr. Banks recounts a seemingly random park encounter where he was first tipped off about possibly being Ms. Bronson's dad. This fleeting moment didn't lead to anything concrete then, just adding to the current confusion and turmoil. The emotional ante is about to be upped, so stay tuned.
I can recall when she was about 6 or 7, and I ran to her mother, Jasmine, and her sister in the park. She had told me that Jasmine, my daughter then.
Jasmine's mother said, do you remember the words she used?
I just recall her saying Jasmine was my daughter.
And Jasmine was there too?
Yes.
This is an absolute game changer. Ms. Bronson talks about her Thanksgiving visit in 2011 to Mr. Banks' mother's house, an event not shared with Mr. Roberts, which throws another wrench into the already complicated family dynamic. Gear up, the surprises are just getting started.
So you met Mr. Banks, you went to his home Thanksgiving in 2011, that's true?
And I went to his mother's house.
You went to his mother's house. How long did it take for you to inform you believe was your biological father that I had this encounter with Banks?
I didn't tell Mr. Roberts that happened.
You didn't tell him at all?
At the time, I didn't feel comfortable to tell him. I don't want to be the one to come and tell somebody that you're not my job. So I didn't do it.
Get ready for the big reveal.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Robert, you are not the father.
Can you believe that just happened? Mr. Matthews stands up in court, looking slightly uneasy but determined, as he admits to the judge that he truly believes Kiona is his biological daughter. He dives into a heartfelt confession about his past mistakes, emphasizing how much he's aiming to prove his paternity today. You won't believe what comes next. Stick around for the juicy bits.
Mr. Matthews, you say you've made mess in your life, but the worst is not being a good to the defendant's daughter. You claim that has caused her to deny are her daughter's father. You here prove the truth. She, biologically, is yours.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Did that really just unfold right in front of our eyes? With a serious look, Ms. Contra Shaw confirms her firm belief that another man, definitely not Mr. Matthews, is Kiona's real dad. This bombshell sets the stage for an intense court battle to uncover the truth about Kiona's paternity, adding layers of emotional stakes to the mix. The tension is mounting, and you'll want to see what happens next.
Ms. Shaw, you admit your daughter believed that Mr. Matthews, but now stand in court, prove that another man is her biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
How shocking was that revelation? In a surprising twist, Mr. Matthews opens up about his failures as a father, leading to this very moment of paternity dispute. Ms. Shaw isn't buying his redemption arc, though, challenging his past actions with a skeptical tone. This adds a complex layer to their already strained relationship against the backdrop of this paternity drama. Keep watching. The drama escalates from here, and it's getting good.
When I was younger, I made a lot of mistakes in my life, so I can understand that Ms. Thompson would want to act the way she does. I tried to reach out to her on Facebook. She was kind of angry at me because of my episodes in my life.
So you're saying you were not a good father?
Not at all.
Your belief is that this whole issue is surrounding failure to be a good father.
That's true.
Is that true, Ms. Shaw?
No, Your Honor.
Who could have seen that coming? The court gasps as revelations about Mr. Matthews's and Ms. Shaw's marital statuses at the time of their alleged affair come to light, suggesting ulterior motives, hidden agendas behind denying paternity. It's like a soap opera, but in real life, the surprises just keep on coming, and you won't want to miss what's next.
And you had a husband?
Yes.
Oh, so you came to court with your wife. No wonder you said you never had sex with this woman. And you had a husband.
Yes.
So you two were basically cheating on your spouses one another.
Yes, Your Honor.
So you get to the magistrate, says, I've never had sex with that woman, and the magistrate rules.
This twist was unexpected. Ms. Shaw recounts a pivotal moment when she decided not to pursue paternity further after Mr. Matthews blatantly lied in front of a magistrate. This key scene underscores the long-standing tensions and the emotional toll of this unresolved issue on everyone involved. What happens next will definitely catch you off guard. Grab your popcorn.
The magistrate and asked me, did I want to go forward? And I told him no.
That wasn't what happened.
I never approached him at that point. His wife already knew at that point about Kiana. She didn't have a problem. Kiana was going to their house before this took place, and it was just a blatant lie.
That ain't what happened. She was married, I was married. She was doing her own thing, I was doing my own thing. You know, and when she told me she was pregnant, I was too busy trying to enjoy myself because I wasn't trying to be.
This is a game changer. Amidst the courtroom drama, Mr. Matthews admits that his fear of losing his wife and his reluctance to take responsibility for a child influenced his previous dishonesty. This candid admission sheds light on his personal struggles and the complicated web of relationships at play. The plot thickens, and the next part is even more revealing.
And you knew you weren't telling the truth. Was that because you were scared to lose your wife? That
Yes.
because you did not want to be bothered with a child?
A little bit of both.
But Miss Shaw, you said that Kiana had already gone over to their house.
Yes.
So how old was Kiana when you were at this magistrate here?
She was 8.
Kiana, so you remember?
Yeah, I remember.
So you remember going over his house?
At least once I remember going over for Halloween.
And your mother told you you're going over to your father's house. And you knew he had a wife.
And other kids.
That revelation changes everything. Ms. Shaw throws another curveball as she reveals her doubts about Kiona's paternity, despite initiating the case against Mr. Matthews. Her confession highlights the tangled web of emotions and moral dilemmas she's grappling with. The following moments will deepen the intrigue. Honestly, it's more tangled than holiday lights.
So why did you open the case against Mr. Matt? Always knew that there was another possibility.
Because when my daughter would go to his house, most of the time she'd be there with his wife. That's why she was crazy about his wife. His kids, those are like her siblings. For him to come in, I wanted to get it out the way while she was still young, that if he's not the father, I don't have to put her through this abuse anymore.
What an intricate web of relationships. As the discussion unfolds, it becomes clear that Ms. Shaw's romantic entanglements have created a confusing backdrop for multiple potential paternal figures in Kiona's life. This revelation adds significant depth to the family dynamics and the challenges they face. You'll be amazed at what's revealed next. This episode is like a reality TV goldmine.
At what point did you hear that there could be another possibility besides Mr. Matt?
I always knew that her husband at the time could have been my father. Mr. Brooks could have been my father. You know, Mr. Matt. I always knew that it could have
So
been.
you grew up knowing that there were at least 3 possibilities of who could be your father. I would prefer this one or that one. I know this one better. Mr. Matthews was the man you wanted to be your father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Why him?
It was just the way that I saw him with his other kids.
That confession was heartrending as Mr. Matthews reflects on his colorful past and its impact on his relationships, especially with Kiona. He presents a raw and introspective look at his desires to make amends. His honesty might just tug at your heartstrings. Brace yourself for the emotional outcome. It's about to get even more heartfelt.
I enjoyed my life.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's in the context of your enjoyment was.
Right.
Kiana wasn't having that much.
Right.
That's true.
She was at your house and you love on your other babies and wishing as a child that she could experience the same kind of love, but was feeling out of place. So I want to understand this. You have Kiana at your home. Your wife knows about Kiana.
Yeah.
That outcome was totally unexpected. The courtroom holds its breath as the judge reveals that Mr. Brooks is not Kiona's father, sending shockwaves through the room. This intense moment cranks up the emotional drama as the mystery around Kiona's paternity deepens, affecting everyone involved, especially Kiona. The final revelation is just around the corner, and trust me, it's a doozy.
Because you felt there was a chance that he would love you the same. No child should have to sit. And it's okay to tell people while you were out having fun. I was living in fear. Because to live with your guard up your whole life, that's difficult too. Jerome, let's get the results. It has been determined by this court. Brooks is not father.